say 39.
Number 1.
39.
1.
38.
37.
36.
35.
34.
33.
32.
31.
30. 29.
28.
27.
26.
25.
24.
23.
22.
21.
20.
19.
18.
17. 16.
15.
14.
13.
12.
11.
10.
9. 8.
7. 6.
5.
4.
3.
2.
1. It's time for mouthwash. Giddy up.
Good evening and welcome to Mouthwash, a minty fresh take on politics. And yes, we're back live on Facebook tonight, so we won't have this problem. I know that I was very proud of our loyal viewers that flipped over to YouTube and figured it out to get in the comments. But hey, I think all systems are go tonight. And man, we got a lot to get to. It's a week before election. So why don't we have questions about these election machines and how they run the election and all that good stuff? So we have IFA, Indiana First Action. These are recorded clips. So we'll have a good, healthy dose of our panel discussion tonight. And we have Mark Small Talk. So we got a lot to get to. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and play the intro to the IFA. And then we'll have our people on the other side because we got a lot of clips. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. This is Marie with IFA, and her partner is Silence, because he just wants to remain anonymous, because when you go poking around the government, they might come after you. So let's go to that first clip, and then we'll have our panel on the other side. All right, Mouthwash viewers, I have a special guest tonight. I have Marie from Indiana First Action, and she is going to explain some voting machines and different things today, and maybe a big overview of how the voting works and the auditing and how we can keep track of these votes. So Marie, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with this.
Well, thank you so much. To give you a little bit of background about Indiana First Action, we were birthed in July of 21 after witnessing that 2020 election. As probably many of you questioned, what did we just witness? What just happened? There were so many anomalies with that election that we just decided to get up off the couch and take a look at our very own state. The biggest question that we get asked a lot is, Trump won, we're a red state, what's the big deal? Well, we began searching. We are truly a grassroots team that focuses on only evidentiary findings. So what does that mean? All of our information is sourced from the Secretary of State's office, the clerk's office. This is their very own data, as well as some other public sources, right? So we have 7 main subgroups, and all of them are totally evidentiary in nature. We have research teams, we have comm squads that then will engage our legislators and our elected officials, and so forth and so on. So we have one non-negotiable, and that is that every legal vote matters. Whether it be left, right, up, or down does not matter. We want to have faith in our election process and the truth of the outcome, right? So one of the mantras as we began to dig in, as we got up off of the couch, is safe and secure.
All right. And there you have it. Oh, there we are.
Did she get cut off?
No, I was actually, I forgot to download small talk. So I was doing that while I was listening. But no, I cut her off because that was the intro. That was the intro. So,
Oh,
and look, I even came up here where I was supposed to. I'm really getting quite proud of myself here at this producing stuff. Yeah, right. Okay. Hey, Ed, let's start with you. How are you doing tonight?
I am doing great, John.
It's just another day in paradise, isn't it? It's just
It
great.
is.
So, Lucy, how are you? I know before the show we were talking about you were cooking dinner for a tribe tonight.
Yep. When I cook, I use all 4 burners at the same time. It's the most efficient way to go to feed my crowd. I'll tell you what, I have not gotten into nearly enough trouble lately. And
This ought to do it.
yeah, and over the weekend, I went to the Indiana Homesteading Conference, which, by the way, is now a group on Facebook, and there's indianahomesteadingconference.com. Great lady named Rhonda organized the whole thing. And it made me realize that there are so many good people that are out there focused on, fixing the things that need to be fixed. Good food, local products. There were 4 cousins that all did different businesses that were all interrelated. So one did composting, one did bees, the other one did, I have to say he was my favorite. He had set up one of those big white screens with fake guns. And so you could like shoot at the screen. So all the little boys that were at the conference were like lined up to do that. And then the 4th cousin did the Harvest Right freeze dryers, which are amazing. Like they fed us all kinds of stuff that had been through the freeze dryer and it was crazy good. So I realized I'm just not doing enough to piss off the cabal. So I really got inspired this last weekend, thanks to the Indiana Homesteading Conference.
Yeah, you need to pick that up a notch for sure. So Tiffany, what it's something about November, something on, you're starving yourself in November. What's that all about?
No, not hardly starving. So
Okay.
I am participating in sober November. So I'm having a cup of tea as we do our show tonight. So let's hope that it's just as much fun. But you did mention starving. So yesterday was Halloween, and true Tiffany fashion, I did give out ramen noodles.
I saw that. I was like,
oh my God, I put my sticker on them for work. So it was a promotional item. But, there's the Fishers Youth Assistance Program. So here in Fishers, we do have children who are food insecure. We do have a program that helps them and gives them snacks. And what I love about the program is that they do get name brand snacks. So they don't get like chocolate sandwich cookies. They get Oreos, they get chips, they get Fritos, they get Ruffles. So I really like that. But for Halloween, years ago, I just started giving out ramen noodles just in case, kids wanted something delicious to eat. And then also, like candy is expensive. So I found that ramen was like cheaper than buying candy. So that's what I do. I'm that lady.
Yeah, well, I think I had one uncle that used to give out a scoop of ice cream. That was always popular.
No cone?
No, just put it in the bag. Let it be melted by the time I got home.
Oh, that's genetic.
He wasn't a very good dude, I don't think so. Yeah, that was good. Hey, so are you guys excited about our show tonight about the IFA, Indiana First Action? They're trying to check out our voting system. I know Lucy's probably going to have a couple things to say about this. And as usual, we have YouTube viewers and we have Facebook viewers, and you can comment in the comments there, and we might put your comment up there. So
can I say something really fast?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Or I do not have a drinking problem. As we prepare for the holidays, the average American puts on 10 to 20 pounds. So I'm just simply trying to create space for the holidays. Thank you.
Yeah, I think what really happened was the Bigfoot made a comment, didn't he? He said, hey, girl, I'm the Bigfoot here. You're not supposed to be the Bigfoot too. So that was it. And then we got a good friend of mine, Big Country Mike King. He's down in Texas holding it down for us.
Dorn, I am not cheap. What the heck? Dude, I'm beat up.
We got it. The leading cause of burns in children is spilling ramen noodles on them. Bet you didn't know that. So now you're attributed to burns.
Did you know that in certain cultures, prison, ramen noodles is best enjoyed dry? Thank you. So you don't even have to cook it.
Okay.
Don't knock until you try it. It's a tasty, crunchy treat.
That's good. So Okay, we're going to get to this first clip, and because and I'll tell you, I interviewed her, and I'm going to apologize now. I mean, this is such a detailed dive that these folks have done. It's like 28 slides. So we're just going to, I know, we're not having that tonight, Tiffany. I know we don't have enough wine. We don't have enough time. Ed doesn't even have enough tinfoil hats for this. But so I've got this thing sort of boiled down to a little bit of it, but I think it's going to be very interesting. And you're going to wonder why we don't have a system that's all equal, fair, auditable. You're going to have more questions probably than answers after this. But Marie and her friend Silence, he needs to remain anonymous for his job, because he may not have a job if they find out that he's poking around on this system. But one of the things they do stress, everything they have is fact-based. It's not R or D or L or anything. It's all about the vote and the person voting, getting their vote counted right. So I like that part about it, but you'll have to be the judge about this other stuff. So let's go to the first clip that she wants me to play is, oh, wait a second. I don't know if that's right. I may not have the right order. She's going to kill me because she's it's so well put together. But we're going to try this one anyway. This talks about the fair elections. And this is Marie explaining what our elections are supposed to look like. So let's do this. About a 2-minute clip. We'll come on the other side. We'll have a little discussion.
So let us start at the beginning. So when we laid our foundation for our team, we wanted to see how we are with the other states of the union. So here's a nationwide view from 2020 to review our state constitution. Our state constitution says, and it's the smallest sentence in our constitution, but yet for us the most powerful. In Article 2, it says, we shall have free and equal elections. It doesn't say safe and secure. It doesn't say transparent. It doesn't say free and fair. It says free and equal. So look at our nation as a whole. Our Secretary of State has indicated her desire for Indiana to be the leader of election administration in the country. However, the majority of the states there are all equal in their voting methods. We actually have 4 vendors in the state. And so we are not free and equal. There is no uniformity at all in the state. So from neighbor to neighbor, from county to county, right? We don't have the same uniform election. So as you can see there in those tiny little graphs, let me read that for you. We have 4 different vendors. So the big one is Microvote out of the state of Indiana. And so that does cover over 50% of our machines. So 41% of those are direct recording devices that you do, and you hit cast, but there is no verified paper trail. That's what the VVPAT stands for. There's no way to go back and audit that vote. There is no paper trail in which to do so. They have gotten some counties that do now have that little printer that's attached to the machines, and that looks like that's at 12.4. And then you have the other 2. But isn't that just crazy? Look at that polka dot everywhere.
All right. So that goes to show you that how we're different in all the states. So Tiffany, go ahead. What do you got a question? I'm gonna put you out here on the hot seat.
No, I wish she was here so I could ask her, like, what kind of voter tape register is she looking for? Because I voted last Tuesday, and you do everything on the machine, and then you check your ballot, and then there was this little machine at the side, and like my ballot scrolled up. It was a paper thing, like a receipt, and I could see it. And then I was like, okay, that's right. And then the next part would scroll up. And so I'm assuming that it was creating a tape, some type of tape record. But I don't know if that's what she's talking about.
Yeah, that's the VVPAT, I believe. And she's in our chat. So they just, I wish we could have had them online, but they could not do the live show. I mean, I had to do it at a lunch hour, and we had so long to do this. To get it out. And we've been trying to do this for quite a while. But I think that little thing on the side is the VVPAT. That's actually your receipt. Some of them don't have that. And there's all different ones. Now, I do believe, maybe somebody can correct me on this, but by 2024, we're supposed to be getting closer to having the same amount, but I don't know. That would be nice to have a Holly Sullivan, that somebody that's running this. So,
but John, I did recognize that when I worked at the polling location for the primary, that register tape was different. We didn't have those in May. So I maybe that's an improvement that we're rolling out here in Hamilton County.
yeah.
Yay,
So
Thursday. Yay, Holly.
yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. Well, it's like, we got that coming up. We're going to have a new one that Holly's not going to be it, but I know that certain things are going down the pike, because I've counted absentee votes and I've seen them put new machines in place. But I think Lake County, Allen County, Marion County have different machines, but the county election board, they vote what machine they have. I would like to see everyone have the fair, this equal, so I think somebody made a point in there. Well, if you have a question up in Lake County and you wanted to call somebody from Porter County, they don't have the same machines. And a lot of these clerks are friends, as we saw when they ran. There was a lot of them are friends, and they like to compare notes and that. And when you're not using the same machine, you just sort of are lost. So I think that's part of it. So let's see, LaPorte County doesn't have a receipt. So so this is one of the problems. So why can't we have a receipt? Why can't we have a paper trail? I know here in Marion County, we vote and the paper comes out, we stick it in an envelope, and it goes to wherever to count it. And I've counted those before as absentees. So any other questions or comments about fair? I'll go back out here until we get an answer.
Thank you.
Lucy?
Dr. Dre handling votes. That's funny.
I'm just reading the comments over here, and I'm absolutely horrified. Michael, Big Country King, I got to give you a shout out. He says, my voting story from Texas. Me and my wife voted last Friday. We were fourth in line, and a man two in front of us asked the helper if he could have a ballot for his wife. He had her ID. I never saw the wife's ID. However, the helper, thank the Lord, stated this is not how voting works. And the guy was cordial and said, okay. As he replied, well, he did it that way last year. Well, I bet he didn't do it that way last year. But, that kind of fraud that is just in your face, just astounding. And of course, if we have voter ID laws, obviously, not that I necessarily agree with the way that it's working right now as a libertarian to have, driver's licenses or things like that. The fact of the matter is you should be able to prove who you are and that you're a citizen in order to vote. And then you should have that paper receipt like the blockchain.
How would you recommend proving that?
Well, the problem with the driver's license is that a license is permission to do something which is otherwise a crime, a tort. So you can't practice medicine without a license. So why would you need a driver's license in order to drive, right? You're not practicing medicine.
I think that you can get an ID too. I think
you can get a free ID in Indiana.
Yeah, you can get an ID in Indiana.
I mean, it takes a little effort. But my thing is, and it's going to get more interesting, because they actually did a boots on the ground study that we're going to talk about after we talk about the voting, the paradox that's coming up. And this is going to be by silence. And I say we get to it, because I think we're going to have more questions as we go here. So let's go in there. I think this is, and like I said, I wish I had more time to do this. Go ahead, Ed.
So Mama Bear IFA is the important person in the.
Yes, she is. She's Marie.
All right,
they were all sort of anonymous due to the fact that they're being very careful. But pretty much everybody figured out who Mama Bear was. So she said, "Well, what the heck? I need to know now." So Mama Bear is Marie.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ed.
So yeah,
no, it's the good question to me, and I doubt that my neighbor knows. I doubt that, a lot of people around me could even identify what type of machine. And I am putting that, we're having this conversation that, from one county to another, that the clerks can't, even answer each other's questions. But I'd be astounded if my neighbor knows, what we have, or what the expectation is, I guess. And when the local people don't have an expectation, it's easy to kind of run wild with that, right?
Yeah, I do think I think it's ambiguous, so that nobody can figure it out. It's like, hey, so
ambiguous.
It is, and here's Mama Bear. She's watching in the thing, so hopefully she'll be able to chip in some answers as I butcher them as we go here. But like I said, it is so interesting. We could do 10-hour show on this, as much detail as they've done, and they are so meticulous in their fact finding. It's like they pride themselves in that, and they don't speculate who's cheating or nothing. They just want to know a person and a vote, is it counted equally and fairly, and that should be everyone's goal. My thing is, if you can't win without cheating, then maybe you shouldn't be running. So, but hey, that's just me. It's
easier to vote, harder to cheat.
Yeah.
Number 2.
I'm going to vote really hard. I'm going to push so hard on that button, they're going to feel it in Washington. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and we're going to listen to Silence now. He's another person that's come along, and I'm going to go to him in the middle of pretty much when he starts explaining. Hey, quit flirting, Tiffany. This is serious business here. We're talking about voting here. What are you doing out there? You flirting with other guys? All right, here we go. Let's listen to the part. You can answer him in the chat while the paradox is going here. So here you go. It's about 5 minutes, but it's pretty interesting. So here you go. Starting right when he starts explaining it. This is Silence. He's one of partners in crime with Marie, and they're trying to get to the bottom of some things, and they just want a few answers.
Was something where I just felt like something was wrong, and the explanations that were being provided just said, sit down, be quiet, it's safe and secure. And so I didn't exactly know what I was going to find. But obviously, Marie had started Indiana First Action, and it was kind of the only group in the state that I was aware of that was doing anything. It leads you down a path where there really truly is, at the end of the day, no accountability for the voter. And we tried to put together a very quick visual representation of what this process has been like. And we call this the election integrity paradox, right? And, paradox is, it feels like it's true, but at the end of the day, it's false. And you have an image of the Penrose steps here, which is an optical illusion. And the point of those is that you can walk up and down those stairs, either direction, as much as you want, and you're always going to end up back at the same place. And we liken this to a voter. You have your life, you've got your job, you've got your kids, you've got all of these hobbies and passions and whatever makes up, the one life that you have to live. And you're carrying all of that while thinking that you're doing your civic duty, going to the voting booth, selecting the candidate that best represents your values, and believing that your government is doing what it's supposed to do, doing what the founders really intended our government to be. And at the end of the day, when you sit back and analyze this process that not only we use in this state, and that's been our focus, because there are a lot of folks that are kind of looking at this nationally, but within Indiana, you really have this 4-step cycle that prevents really the voice of the voter from being heard. Right. And so, if you start from the top, right, it starts with that step: systems that avoid scrutiny, systems that really are not auditable. And, we talk about the lack of a paper trail. These machines that don't have VVPAT, and even though they may have VVPAT, we really don't feel like that is actually a mechanism for auditability. When you have a process that you can't audit, that is a big problem. So that's step number 1, right? But that doesn't in itself say that there is, malfeasance or something wrong, right? It just says, hey, if there is something wrong, you can't catch it. But even then, when you take that next step, you say, okay, well, if it's not auditable, is the system vulnerable? And clearly, there are demonstrations out there that show that these machines are hooked up to the internet. Wisconsin just recently came out, and indicated that their voting machines were connected to an unknown access point that was linked to, some nonprofit organizations. So, okay, well, now we've set the stage. You can't audit this machine, and now we know it's vulnerable. We know that it can be accessed from a place that is not physically at that location, right? And then you have a system that is haphazardly implemented. In this state, we have over 5 different vendors. We have over 5 different ways that you can cast a ballot, right? You can cast a ballot in person via mail. You can cast a ballot Even in the in-person, you have machines that create ballots that you fill out and you feed through a machine. You have machines that you just go and select your choice on the screen. There is no standard way that voting takes place within this state, which Marie will talk about, really kind of leads us to our free and equal argument. But the last, two pieces, or the last piece of this, is that you have a system that lacks accountability. So you already can't audit it. We know that it's vulnerable. We know that there are no standards. But then you get into this piece where even when the state says the vendors break the law, they aren't held to account. In fact, they just go re-sign another contract with the vendor that broke the law 1 year prior, right? And in this case, we're talking about ES&S. They didn't hold the records in their systems for the 22-month federal and state requirements. And this isn't Indiana First Action saying they broke the law. This is in a report coming from VStop, which is the vendor that certifies all of our equipment in this state, saying, hey, they broke the law in 2018 in the primaries in 2018. We're alarmed by this. And lo and behold, 2019 comes around and we're re-signing contracts with the SNS, right? So, this is that circle that we talk about, right? Can't audit it. It's vulnerable. There's no standards. And even when they break the law, when it's blatant, we don't hold them accountable. And what does that do to the voter? It means that you're going and casting your vote on a machine that really isn't going to represent your choice.
Yep, there you go. That's I hope that explained how things work there. And I think the way to fix it is to go back through those steps and make sure that we cover all those bases. And I think that's what leads up to voter mistrust. So I'm going to start with Lucy on this one. And what's your comments on this free and equal? I mean, I know you're the party on the outside looking in, and we had your candidate on for Secretary of State. He seemed pretty sharp to me. Do you think he'd be able to fix something?
Well, obviously, if you vote Jeff Moore for Secretary of State, you're going to have a much better chance of actually having free, safe, secure elections, because that's what we're actually committed to. Unfortunately, the Republicans and the Democrats, I got to pick on you, but election fraud serves the duopoly. It serves the two major parties. And I mean, we have this problem here with Democrats and Republicans not wanting to show up. They don't want to show their face. They don't want to answer questions. They don't want to be transparent. And we know that the current Republican, Holly Sullivan, not only did she violate election laws on the very first day by campaigning for the next position, but she also ordered the destruction and the deletion of the data from the previous election, so it could not be questioned. So we have so much fraud, and I would just like the opportunity to have the Libertarian Party come in and be the one party that will not do it.
1 second. Holly didn't get into office until 2021.
You don't understand. Holly actually ordered the destruction, like the very first week that she was appointed by the governor. She ordered the destruction, the deletion of the data.
Yeah,
there were
they
other
have
people
to
who
hold
were
them
trying to audit it.
20 weeks
22
or
months?
something, 22 weeks or 22 months or whatever.
22.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure of the exact time, but she made sure that it was deleted.
I think that was I don't know. If
She was appointed by the governor for some very specific reasons, and one of them is the fact that she'll do what she's told.
Well, but I'm just thinking of like the calendar. If the elections were in November of 2018, she didn't get in there until.
You forget that there are midterms too.
Yeah, so it'd be. I think Dorn's right. I think it's 22 months, so that would be almost 2 years, and that would make sense. If it was 2018 and she got in 2021. It was definitely past the time period. So, yeah. But and that's just how these laws are written. That's how they're written. So I'm putting Ed out here. I want to see what you have to say about this nonsense.
Ed's on the hot seat.
Hot seat, Ed. I mean,
really, like the only thing I could argue with, or the only thing I could argue with him about was, when we talk about the Constitution and the folks, founding fathers wanting fair and equal elections. This hasn't been a fair and equal election system, and it hasn't been meant to represent everybody from the get-go. We've always had people that, and don't take this the wrong way, I'm not defending it, but I'm saying that we are looking to improve on something that's been imperfect from the beginning. And so how you do that, I agree. This is a work in progress. There's part of me that also would, we say we would love to have them in person. I would love to ask. There's part of me I want to see some type of receipt, some type of way we could go back and audit it. I don't trust the machines by themselves, but at the same time, having one vendor throughout the entire state is also a bother or worrisome thing to me. And also, if that one, if we're saying that a vendor isn't, vendors aren't being held to account, what happens when that one vendor is the only vendor in the state, and they're not being held to account? And so I think there's a lot of questions here. They brought up some great questions, and I think it's stuff that really needs to be explored. I agree with them. It's something that we don't talk enough about. So
Ed, I have a
that's my 2
question
cents.
for you.
Sure.
As you talk about it, you're talking about like different vendors. Do you think if we use the same machine all over the state, is that a step in the right direction, or do we need multiple vendors working in our state? I mean, I don't know what does security look like? What does a secure election look like? Because I kind of think that we'd want to use the same machine across the entire state. But I don't know if that's wrong.
So part of it to me is when she talks about, you have, I believe it was 5 different, results there. One where you have the paper ballot, one, where you have the receipt. I think even if we had different vendors, having the same requirements, that they have this, that you have the receipt, that you have something that you can track. To me, that is, if we have different car vehicles, but we still have the same requirements as safety standards and such, why don't we have the same thing for these voting machines? Why is it a free for all that, whatever county you're in kind of gets to pick what they want? So that's where I would stand on it.
So I guess my question is for Mama Bear. Mama Bear, would we prefer, paper ballots? If we don't have paper ballots, do we want just one machine, the same machine used across all 92 counties? I mean, I don't know. I mean, could you be too secure? I know paper ballots are the way to go, or perhaps the ink on the thumb.
Yeah, well, and this is a question here, not having an audit on it. I mean, that I think that's major to not be able to go back. I mean, what happens when we do a recount and you got to go back and try to figure this stuff out? I mean, it seems like we got such an age of automation and checks and balances that we shouldn't be faxing things in. It seems like we're faxing our vote in through an old Pitney Bowes machine or something. It's like, hey, let's just make these Pitney Bowes machines work out, and they'll just
dot matrix on that special paper, that thermal paper.
Yeah, something. Yeah. I mean, it is that. But like I said, when I did the counting of absentee ballots, it really seemed like that was pretty decent. And I think any cheating that was going on was whoever put the absentee ballot in there. I mean, you could go to a nursing home and say, hey, let me fill out your ballot. Those type of things. But is that a widespread thing? I don't think so. But if somebody's bringing boxes of ballots and running them through a machine, or if they've hacked into this thing and say, oh, look, 50 votes here. Well, let's make that 15. How that seems like it's pretty simple to do that. So like I said, we're having this is, well, Tiffany, here's your answer to that. No, they're all hackable. So
but look at the one above that. Maurer bought a voting machine off of eBay. That's
yeah. I mean, when I was counting at the Marion County headquarters down here, they had all the machines were stored there that they were going to put in place next year. I mean, it was stacks of them for just Marion County. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. They already have one machine in place. They got another one on the shelf. And then I guess it's already obsolete too. So it's just a lot of money spent for this. And one of these questions I have for you all is, we have precinct committeemen. Why do we not just go to a paper ballot and have each precinct count their ballots and send them in? I mean, to me, I think it could be a lot simpler. I think sometimes we get caught up in the convenience and everybody wants to know by 9 o'clock who won and lost. that we demand that we have this instantly, and the only way you're going to do that is with a computer, because everybody knows computers are great.
Well, then I think that speaks to probably the elephant in the room, the biggest problem, which is the insertion of mainstream media and their participation in election fraud. I mean, how many times, I'm just going to call it out for the Trump thing. I don't have any love for Trump, but definitely have less love for Biden. But the fact of the matter is we had mainstream media calling the election before Hawaii had voted. There's a 6-hour time difference between New York City and Oahu. We've got, it's 6 o'clock in New York City, but it's only 3 p.m. in Willamette Valley in Oregon. So the media purposefully says that somebody is winning or somebody's not winning, regardless of the facts, because it dissuades voters who might be on the losing side, especially from even showing up. So I think a media blackout is really in order until the votes are actually counted.
And how about a holiday? How about a holiday? Just take Tuesday off. Let's all go out and drink till lunch and then go vote.
I think you're supposed to vote first and then drink.
Oh, yeah. Aren't the liquor stores closed? Aren't they closed like after 6 o'clock? Is that a law? It's like, you think that sometimes our choices are so poor that I need a drink before I go vote.
So everybody in favor of making the mainstream media shut up and have a blackout surrounding it until it's actually
except for us. Except for us. We can be on the air, not them.
Well, I think we're mainstream.
Yeah, exactly. If I were accused, don't accuse me of being mainstream.
We're side street. Off Broadway.
Yeah, Lucy, you brought up Trump there for a second. So I have not listened to Small Talk. In fact, I downloaded it. Uploaded it while we were on one of the clips.
I'm sure I'll hate it.
But I do know that this is a little bit of trivia for you, that Mark Small, you're going to find this interesting, led the lawsuits against the 2016 election when Trump had Russian interference and different things. So, like I see Tiffany already smiling there. But
what we're saying is that it's 2022 and we have evidence of Mark Small's delusional behavior since 2016. I think that's really how
this is going to be even more. So let's see what he says, and we'll all see it together for the first time. He already says this is going to rattle some cages. So
Tuesday night debut.
Giddy up.
He'll only be rattle the cages of the prison of his own mind.
Oh boy.
This is Mark Small. This is Small Talk for November 1st. 2022. We want to talk about the validity of elections, and some people are trying to question the validity of the 2020 presidential election. That's something that I don't think can be questioned. There was one of the cleanest elections ever. Republican office holders said it was. And if you look down ballot from the presidential ticket, in a lot of places, the down ballot races got more votes than Trump did and actually won in places where he lost. So I think that's kind of not really a good thing to try to raise. But if you're going to do it, guess what? A lot of us are angry because Trump held office at all, because his presidency was not legitimate. He lost the popular vote by over 3 million votes. Not only that, he acknowledged that he had had assistance from Russia, even invited Russia to help him out on the campaign when he was in a debate with Secretary Clinton. The Vice President of the United States, Mr. Pence, acknowledged Russian involvement, said, hey, we got hacked. So did the Speaker of the House. The election of 2016 was challenged in at least 2 actions before the United States Supreme Court that were not heard on the merits. And that's important because what we were looking at in those cases, and I was counsel on them, was the validity of the election because we had been invaded. It was a cyber invasion. That's a violation of Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution of the United States. We're to be protected from invasion. Fraud has no statute of limitations in situations like this. And you can always go to the courts to challenge matters, certainly what it would seem to be here. But if they're going to try to challenge 2020, then let's bring in 2016, because here's an important part of that. There are 3 justices on the Supreme Court of the United States that should not be there. There are other reasons. Misrepresenting facts to a Senate Judiciary Committee is one of them, but also the person who appointed them, who nominated them, did not hold that office legitimately. By the same token, a lot of federal judges don't occupy their office legitimately. If they want to try and raise something about the 2020 elections, then somebody ought to be filing a counterclaim against these bastards on the 2016, because Putin got an invitation into our government gratis of Trump. My name's Mark Small. This is Small Talk. This is November 1st, 2022. I'm a candidate for Indiana House District 86. I'm the Republican nominee. I won the primary. I approve of this message. Hell, I made it. Take care.
so I had to put my glasses on so I feel smarter.
Did you see the cat?
Can we
Oh
just?
yeah, the
Yeah, I
cat's
saw the
like,
cat.
he's going.
Trying
You're
to
next,
claw their
Mark.
way
You're
out.
next. You're next.
So what I'm trying to figure out is why he's making all these sweeping claims that are clearly not true. I mean, tell me that you don't know anything about how the internet works without telling me that you don't know how the internet works. I mean, does he not know about proxy servers? Does he not understand that, not only is the CIA interfering in our elections, but, worldwide? And the big elephant in the room is there are no elections, there are only C-lections. Are the people that are universally mad. So I'd like to say today, I met somebody in Salem, Indiana. Nice couple. They own a guitar shop right on the square in Salem. Delightful couple. And he shared with me that he has some libertarian leanings, which made me so happy. I invited him to the local meetings. But he also confided that he hadn't voted since 2015. I applauded his decision because whenever anybody says, well, you didn't vote, so you don't get to say, you don't get to complain. No, absolutely not. I think the true moral position is to withdraw your consent and your approval by not voting at all. Just the participation in the circus is what gives it, what gives it, I'm trying to think of the word.
Makes
Haven't
it a
had my
circus.
lines maybe. Makes it legitimate. That's the word I'm looking for. It gives it the air of legitimacy when people participate in the elections, because none of these are real. It's all rigged.
Well, and there is a lot. It is difficult to get on the ballot, and a libertarian knows that, because they have ballot access because if they run as Secretary of State, you have to get what, 3% to get on the ballot? Is that what it is?
2%.
2%. Yeah,
2%.
that's and if you get 10, then you get to be a major
Then
party.
we get major party status.
Yeah,
and then we've got to have somebody in every precinct. So that's going to be interesting. But with Diego messing up so bad and Destiny refusing to step forward and share how she would actually, fix things, I think we got a pretty darn good chance at 10%.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Mark did talk about down ballot stuff. So, I ran for Indiana House 97 last time. Biden got 70%, Trump got 29, and I got 40%. So I did better. Yeah, I know. I'm winning this time. I'm winning. I'm going to keep running until I win something. But this time, it's looking a lot better. There ain't no Trump on the ballot, everybody. And Biden. I don't know if you've checked the newspaper lately, but Biden's not doing so hot. He's not. So hopefully it'll be an exact opposite of last time, and my opponent will feel the wrath of having a poor presidential candidate in our district. So we'll see how it goes.
To point out that you've got these down ballot Republicans who are like, oh yeah, it was absolutely fair because they won. The duopoly maintains power by playing good cop and bad cop. So it's within their best interest to not call out the fraud in the elections, because quite frankly, both parties are participating in fraud in various elections. Whether it's small town fraud and stuffing the ballot box for your friend to be the county auditor, or bringing in, palletfuls of mail-in votes for Biden. The fact of the matter is that both parties participate in fraud. And, until we have one vote per person through the blockchain, so it positively cannot be reproduced or stolen, until we have really great cybersecurity people making sure that that's secure, we're just going to continue to have selections. And until the Federal Reserve is eliminated and dissolved and we have honest money, according to Article 1, Section 5, paragraph 2, whatever it is of the Constitution that says
the thing.
Yeah, the thing. That's what I'm going to start saying, the thing, when I can't remember a word. The fact of the matter is we're so far away from where we started. The Great Reset's going to be here. 90% of y'all are going to starve and die, and I'm going to be, just sitting here eating my rice and beans and waiting for Jesus.
Hey, at least I'm going to be happy. I got 5 gallons of Chateau de Marseille wine almost finished, plus other bottles somewhere. So I'll be good for about 3 weeks.
That is the barterable skill. That is the skill that will get you through the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, that's like, and I caught 4 possums, so I'm good at catching possums.
Are you killing them and eating them?
I'm not going to comment on that possums where they went.
There's fish in the pond behind my house.
Yeah, see, there you go.
Off from the Monsanto products.
So I'll tell you a funny possum story real quick.
I'll be okay.
When I
The
get out
fish
here.
have 2 heads. The turtle's got 2 shells. I'm good.
Yeah,
so more meat.
Right.
Yeah, so my son sends me a picture of a possum that he killed, and he posted it on the social media. And oh, look, I killed me a possum, and then everybody says, "Well, you better go back and check that it might not be dead." So he goes back and he goes, "Oh."
Did you see? Silence gave a response.
Yeah, I know. He's in the house here, so if you have questions, he can ask. Ed, you got a question, Ed? Come on.
No, Silence said he responded to Lucy.
Oh, he did. Hold on. Where's he at?
Yep.
9:45. Silence. Completely disagree with this assessment. Agree that both parties play the charade. The only way to overcome this is to get involved, volunteer, poll watch, understand the system, and ultimately vote. You can't win if you don't play.
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of people, and I know that we got Slick Witty here. He has gone to his training last Saturday to be a poll watcher, and I know that there's some people on my team that are trying to get their poll watching cards from our township chairman. So I think a lot of people are getting the hit, and we're going to have a pledge here at the end that Mama Bear wants us to play. Oh yeah, look, here we go. She's ready. Look, she's going to do a segue for us. So we're going to go to the next this is our final slide. Because
can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Everybody always jokes about voting for dog catcher. If ever there was someone to be elected dog catcher, can someone please nominate Mark Small? I would vote for a Republican. That is, we need to have something for Mark Small, dog catcher. That's it. That's all I want to add since we're talking about animals.
Yeah, that's right. Well, hey, maybe he's the cat catcher. He could catch cats.
Did you see his hair was combed and he had his tie on? He was
somebody found some. Well, he didn't have it tied though. So anyway, I was going to comment.
He looked like he'd been someplace important.
Yeah, somebody found some.
I tell you, you guys give Mark people give him a hard time, but he is out there doing work for people that can't afford lawyers and all that. So
I can't hate on him for that. I think
nobody hates on him. He's a character. He's like Andy Rooney.
Yeah, he is sort of our Andy Rooney, isn't he? I thought I was with my eyebrows, but I got them trimmed, so I lost my part. But
you're not cantankerous enough.
Yeah, but I wanted to just shout out to Silence Do Better. No disrespect intended. That's cool. But it's like Dorney took the words right out of my mouth. You can't win in a rigged system. And what's even worse is to participate and act like you can, because, then you're acknowledging that there is some legitimacy to the way everything is happening. And there isn't. I think the last really good president we had was, JFK, and they killed him, and Grover Cleveland before that.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln.
That's a name that doesn't come up.
Abraham Lincoln was a tyrant who put Indiana senators in jail, so we couldn't go with the South. It was a states' rights issue. It wasn't about slavery. Lincoln had slaves. He was a terrible, terrible person.
Well, thanks for ruining that for me, Lucy. So
hey, we got the other myths.
Cleveland do that was so amazing.
Let me ask you, what is Grover Cleveland known for? Exactly. If you can't name something bad that he did, then he probably didn't do much damage.
I thought he made Cleveland, the town Cleveland. So true or false?
Jeffersonville, Indiana, is built on Jefferson view of what a city should be, like a checkerboard. So that, like, if you're in the black square, you've got north, south, east, and west. You've got red squares, and so it was actually a response to like typhoid or something that went through Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, one of those two cities, probably Philadelphia. And so they thought, how can we separate people? But of course, the real estate became way too valuable, so they started filling in the squares. But yeah, that was the way Jeffersonville, Indiana was originally plotted, was to make sure that you had nobody on any side of you.
Social distance.
Really? Yeah. No, truly social distancing. They knew that there was something that was contagious, and that was the way they did it.
We like to think freedom's contagious, but it seems like that
Now
ain't so
you
much.
know.
Yeah, now you know. Hey, not a lot of people know how educational this show is. So we're gonna go to clip 4. And
Clip
I'm
4,
really,
bring it on.
I'm really, and it's, hey, Lucy, it's pie. It's a pie chart. I'm sorry, a pie chart. So we're gonna have dessert here. And like I said, there is way, way more to this. And I think after the election, maybe we'll cover some more, and maybe we can get one of the IFA folks to come on and be a guest. But I love that they're in the chat and asking questions. But I am not doing this the best service. I mean, one,
Oh, you're doing
I'm
a great
running
job.
for
Oh my God,
office,
you're
so
the
it's hard.
best.
What's that?
You're the best. You're doing a great
Oh yeah,
job.
I felt so bad
LOL
when I'm
for
editing
growth.
all this. I'm like,
Where
I
you
just,
lead, we follow. Isn't there some
uh,
song?
yeah, it's
I
called
think Whoopi
Crazy
Goldberg
Train by
sang it.
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah,
So that's what,
you're so awesome.
yeah. So,
You talk too
well,
much, John. Oh, mute John.
All right, so we set out with boots on the ground to find out if what we were seeing in the data, which we just presented to you, we wanted to have something to kind of make sense of some of the control mechanisms that we were seeing, right? So we set out with our team and we had boots on the ground, and we went to these 6 counties that are listed here. There he is. The 6 counties that are listed: Boone, Lake, Allen, Hamilton, Johnson, and Dearborn. And we knocked on 3,300 doors. And of those doors, 1,235 answered. That is a great ratio. I believe that when they did the canvas in Arizona, they were right at 30%. So I think we're at 32, 33. So a little bit better, right? So I wanted that in context. And as you can see at the pie chart on the bottom left there, those are your total door knocks. So the orange are the people that we got to, and the blue were the no answers. And we went out, I want you to understand, when we got up off the couch and we began this process, it was November of 21. So it's getting chilly out, and it ran to February, excuse me, of 22. And so it was icy up in Lake, right? That lake effect snow. So it did take a 4-month process of so many wonderful volunteers. So let's talk about what we saw in the results. If you take that little orange section from the bottom left, then we're going to blow that up into the big pie chart. Want to verify and have faith in that whole darn pie chart would be blue, but it's not. And I'm so sorry. So I want to report those findings. So 359 of those, a quarter of the houses that we knocked on, they had record keeping issue. What is that, you might ask? Well, we have the voter history file that we're looking at, and it's a very methodical questions that are the same for every single house, because this is all data, right? We never, ever ask who you voted for. We ask questions like, did you live here 30 days prior to the election, right? You have to be a resident in that home to vote at that precinct. Did you receive any unsolicited mail-in ballots? What was your method of voting? Did you vote on the day of, early, mail-in, and how many people in your home voted? 359 of the homes that we went to, we would look at their voting history, and they voted the day of. But when we're asking these questions, citizens said, oh no, we sent in our mail-in, or oh no, I had to go early because I worked the polls that day. And we're looking at the history and it says, no, you voted the day of. Or it was flip-flopped. Or they were mail-in voters, but their history said that they voted the day of. So 359 had incorrect record keeping. 86 are phantom voters. What are those? Those are people that when we ask, are you the homeowner here? How many of you reside here? These are people that did not live at that house. People didn't know who these names were, but yet they voted from that address in our elections. Ghost voters are the exact same, except for they were no voters. They are still listed at that residence, but they did not cast a ballot. The lost votes, this one made me nauseous. 95 people told our canvassers, we stood in line and it was a gorgeous day and we were so excited about our candidate and we stood in line, and I'm sitting here looking and they had no vote. their vote was lost. And then the
Okay,
other
so-
one were overvotes. People that were out of the country. This one is so ingrained in my mind. They went to Germany and they were like, oh my goodness, we were so sad. We forgot to get our application for our mail-in time. So we just didn't vote. And I'm looking at our sheet and someone cast a ballot for them. There were 16 of those out of the.
There you go. I'm sorry that cut off, but that was our break there. So that was pretty interesting that, when we do research, anything under 30 is a small sample and anything over 30 is a large sample. And the way you can do that is you take that out and just multiply it. You can multiply it to a larger amount. Well, they had 3,300 people and they actually talked to 12. That's a very, very detailed
Large sample
study.
size.
Yeah, and the fact that you had this. Now, when I ran for mayor and I had to get signatures, I have 8,700 signatures, and they threw out 1,100 of my signatures of registered voters in Marion County, but their address didn't line up. And those folks went on and voted, and that's 14% of the voting rolls are wrong address, voting in the wrong, and I know that a lot of people, they move and they didn't get it straightened out, and our BMV is supposed to update that when you get your license, but that's every 6 years. So there's a lot of ways that you could be voting in the wrong place and you could be living in a different place. And I know a lot of college kids leave their address at their parents' house and they vote for back in Tippecanoe County or whatever. So that sort of blew my mind that there was that many paper errors. Just we don't know what happened. It's just a different paper thing. So what do y'all think about that part of things? Don't all jump at once.
So I'm going to jump in and say there's a company that I know of called Lowe's that has a app that's their MVP program, and also with their pro customers, that when you come into the store, you swipe your card, that automatically links to your account. You have your receipt in your wallet on the app. I still don't understand. Like, we're talking about these people that have questions. You're in a foreign country and you don't know whether or not somebody voted for you. Why we still don't have this ability to track that at least like marks off or notifies you somebody voted for this, that links it back to an account, and it doesn't have to necessarily be the full registration. Like, we could have that conversation of whether that's needed or not, but at least alerting you to that somebody has voted using your name. Like, I don't understand why we have so much technology that we have companies actually using today, but we're like, hey, we can't use that for our voting system to track stuff.
What do you think about blockchain? That I've heard that thrown around, and I don't even know if I really know what blockchain is. Maybe
Did you
somebody.
see what Silence Do Better said? He said that the federal government forbade states from using federal funding to purchase those VVPAT modules. They are not considered a ballot by federal standards.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of it is like, what is the rule?
Yeah, well, it's consistency. Whenever you have a system that's not consistent, then there's a lot of ways stuff can fall out the sides of it. And I don't want to talk too much. Dorn's putting me on notice here.
No, but I guess it's a state thing. It's the state. The state runs their election.
I just want to thank IFA for doing this incredible, thankless work. I cannot imagine the horror that I would feel if I was one of the canvassers and going around and asking people questions, and I'm looking and they cast a vote. Where's the correlation? Can we find out who did more, who got more votes that were illicit? Were they Democrats? Were they Republicans? Can we track that down? Do we have, video? We should have video at the election sites, and maybe just even a video at check-in, but not a video when you cast your vote, clearly, because that should be anonymous. We have so much capacity to do better, but there's no drive to do better because, once again, the fraud serves the duopoly. So the Republicans are not going to call the Democrats out for their fraud because they don't want to be called out for their fraud. You all know that they all look like they're fighting on the floor of Congress, right? But then they're conspiring against us while they're having dinner. Let's just get real.
Yeah, I think Tiffany's got something to say. Maybe not. Well, I could say that it's I think the solution to this is run better candidates. That you don't have to have a manipulated system of
How about if
keeping
we run
folks.
candidates that don't run from the media and don't run from debates?
Hey, there's plenty of those going around. I mean, it's you'd think election time you'd want to get out there, but hey, if you got a big lead, why say what's Abraham Lincoln say? If you're a fool, don't open your mouth and prove it. So I think that there's something to be
I
said with
thought
that.
that was Mark Twain who said,
I don't know. Who cares?
all
Mark
right.
Small may have said it. I make up
One
stuff on
Smith
this
said it
show.
best.
I'll make up a word in a minute, so don't push me.
I like
so
the thing about the retina scan. That's a good one. I
one
know
of
it
the
gets you on an
things,
airplane pretty fast.
yeah,
The
one of the
problem with
things that
the problem with the retina scan The problem with the retina scan would be the government having that unique information about you.
yeah, that
Just like people
is
found out when they wanted to find out about their DNA, what happened, all of that got sold. And we now know as a result of the mRNA technology that they're literally developing vaccines in order to, well, I'm not going to say the worst case scenario, but they're developing customized medicine. So they can develop something that only targets you, Tiffany. So, you say something somebody doesn't like,
Well, with my retina,
bam,
yeah, with my DNA, perhaps, but I don't think a drug company is going to spend that much time and effort for something that's going to work on a mom and Fishers. I don't
it
see
you'd be
that.
depends
surprised.
I
You're
mean,
pretty popular.
I was a mom in Fishers causing a lot of problems.
Yeah,
And the
well,
more problems that we cause for the duopoly, or at least, me, because you're part of the duopoly, then what are we going to have happen? I mean, we've known that the CIA has heart attack guns. We know that back in the 50s, the Russians were beaming radiation at our embassies, and people were getting cancer at an alarming rate at our embassies, even back in the 50s. So it's really easy to take out your political enemies when you have customized medicine like that.
yeah, you can
I
put
was
Yeah,
that
told
I
by
mean,
a
under
nurse
it
over
your
the
is.
weekend that if you want to kill somebody, just give them insulin, and nobody can figure it out. And I was like, really? I had
That
no
is true.
idea.
Don't
Put
tell Lucy
it
that.
between the
Please
toes.
don't tell Lucy that.
Shoot it between the toes. I used to work with an endocrinologist.
Okay, this conspiracy theory's not going yet, so we got to back this down
Yeah,
a little
we've
bit.
gone on to teaching time, John.
Yeah, I know it. Well, and one of the things that, on this, there's this fine line between privacy in the ballot box and what your vote is and who you are and who voted that we have to remember, which is surprising because as a Democrat or Republican, you can get the voter registration and you can find out if they're an R, a D, or an I, or you can't find out who they voted for, but you can find out who they voted for, not exactly, but which way they lean, and you can target your marketing and that type of thing at it. So it is. Oh
There's
yeah,
some
Robert's
pretty
going to
good
jump in.
profiles there. That's pretty reliable information. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean they got age and everything on there. So yeah, Robert's
Mhm.
going to jump in here. He says antifreeze too. So make up a little insulin antifreeze thing, and yeah, that's good. That's we're cutting that. So
That had a plan.
yeah, so that's
Just hack their Tesla and run them into a tree.
yeah.
It wasn't a Tesla that killed Breitbart, but he was in some car that was absolutely hackable.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember
Remember
that.
Breitbart? All of a sudden, he went to 90 miles an hour and then went into a tree. Well, what I thought was funny is, that's like a legit conspiracy theory. I mean, there was reasons to kill Breitbart, but then when the same thing happened with Anne Heche, the actress, they're like, "Oh, somebody." I'm like, nobody was taking a hold of her car. Like she had just been on a podcast for hours and was, not sober in a very big way.
That is. Again, we're not at the conspiracy theory part of the show, but we're looking down there. So we're getting ready to wrap this thing up here a little bit. Like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. You need to go to the IFA website and check out their stuff. But I want to make sure that I put up the pledge. So go ahead.
So, John, do you feel confident enough that regardless of what happens next Tuesday, we'll be able to get our next Secretary of State on the show so that we can have a conversation about this topic?
Well, let's see. It depends on. Well, it's going to be Tuesday night, so I'm actually looking for a host because I may be busy that night. Trying to Tiffany, are you going to parties and stuff?
I've been invited to 2.
Yeah, Lucy. What about you? Are you to host the show next week?
I'll be I'll be somewhere. I'll dial in. I'll do it from my
Okay.
cell phone in the middle of a parking
How
lot
about you,
while
Ed?
there's,
So
Yeah, I
whatever.
could
Ed's the
probably
anti-social, and I would be more than happy to be like host and have you guys dial in and report
All
from
right.
where you're at. So yeah,
That-
I'd be more than happy to do that.
That's
Yay!
perfect. I
Oh my
believe we're going
God.
to be at Sutton's at Coach's Tavern. Tom Sutton, he's downtown, and he's been a loyal supporter of mine. Win, lose, or draw. This is going to be interesting, folks. I think that I really got a chance to win. And Tiffany, I had lunch with Jim Mayer today, and we
Oh,
had
that's
a
nice.
very good
Is he
conversation.
gunning for my seat?
What's that? Oh, is he good? No, I don't know. We had a really good conversation. That guy's really a good guy. And I think he misses being in the politic, but he knows he's got a lot of experience with 30 years in there. So we'll see. I think he misses it. I think that he's enjoyed a little moment off. I think there's a spot for him somewhere. I don't know if he's going to try for governor. I think it's up to if Braun runs and some different things. It's going to be interesting. The 2024 is going to be real interesting. And I'll be interested to see how this election turns out with how things are. Because I think there's a different vibe out there. When last time I was campaigning, it was totally this time is a totally different vibe. I think a lot of people are tired of both parties' politics, so to speak, and this may be a wake-up call for some incumbents and some other folks that maybe aren't doing their job.
So what are you thinking about Angela and Andre, the battle of the A's?
I just think that we have so many Democrats here, and I think Angela, she is a tough person. She came here with $89 in her pocket, and she comes across. I mean, she is a bulldog. I mean, she is. I like her. She's come out and campaigned with me a couple times, and she gets to the bottom of fixing things. I don't know if Washington's ready for somebody that's going to come in there and fix some things. I mean, because she seems like, hey, get out of my way. I'm coming in.
Now, one of the things I think is really interesting about that race is that everybody who runs against them, nobody takes a second bite of the apple.
Yeah, as well.
Everybody runs once and then they just go away. Nobody runs twice against them.
This is an example of the fraud inherent in the system.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring up something in my final kind of thoughts on tonight's topic, and I think it kind of piggybacks on what Lucy just said. Is my question is, how do you go about fixing it? Because a part of us would say that you need to have some type of the discussion on this, but who exactly do you put in charge when there's two parties in place that are basically the Republicans are in charge of fixing anything at the state? They don't need the Democrats to do anything, but still, like, even if you have discussions on this, like, how do you have discussions when these two parties are who created this?
Yeah, it's like Milton Friedman said, where do we find these angels to run our government? And I can answer for Lucy too. Hey, vote on my guy. He's an outsider. So I mean, there's certain things, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think that there's a lot of people that are stuck. I get so many people ask me what party I am. I really don't care what party I am. What am I going to do? What are you going to do? I mean, that's the thing that bothers me. But at the same time, if you're a Democrat going to the state house, you're going to run into a 70 member Republican team on the red team, and they're going to pummel you, and you're going to get depressed and want to quit. So how do you do that? That's a very good question, Ed. I would love to see maybe an outside person do that, but I think after a while, I think every system's great until you add people, and that's when we start getting into trouble. But
hey, I want to make a correction from the comments. Slickwitty is saying, is that why Lucy only ran once? I've actually run for office 3 different times. So I ran in the 90s for City County Council in Indianapolis when I lived there, and then I ran for United States Senate in 2016 and 2018. So I did run more than once, and I am always confronted myself with my philosophy of, and like silence do better, nihilism isn't the answer, right? We're not going to sit down and say, well, you can't do anything, so you shouldn't do anything. There's no reason not to stay in and try and make it better. But I hold no illusions that when I ran for Senate each time, I'm literally pulling in $5,000 and the old parties are pulling in 50 million. It's because I do not have any fraud to sell. There's no way that once I get in that I'm going to vote for Monsanto's products. There's no way when I get in that I would ever vote, for Pfizer to make $40 billion off of the American taxpayers. And that's, not even counting what Moderna, who had never had a product, by the way, never brought a product to market before the RNA vaccine, but have been continually propped up by hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars. I would have never voted for any of that to happen. So there's no reason for them to give me $1 million while I'm running. Just facts.
Yeah, well, and the guy I'm running against must really like to drink because he has several beverage companies that it's just amazing how they just line up and give this money and just give it. And it's like, if you're an outsider, just as you said, Lucy, it's tricky. Yeah. But you do get people that are doing that will give.
But Lucy, I applaud you for that because somebody has to be a trailblazer. Somebody has to illuminate the path for the next person. Somebody has to try. And look where your party's gotten now. I mean, like, you are blazing a trail. Sometimes we don't know what we're doing until it's years later. I mean, my life's not easy. I was an African American female officer. I mean, come on, what was my peer group like?
Girlfriend, you are preach it, and take. We got the arrows in our backs.
Yeah, we have to. We put on our lip gloss and pull up our big girl panties, and we just march on, and we go as far as we can, knowing that the next person's going to come and go further. So
and adjust our concealed carry weapon in our bra.
Right, girl. So yeah, I applaud you.
Not to mention the one of my ankles, one of my thigh, one of my small of my back.
I just got a question. Does the Army actually give you big girl panties? Is that like Army issue? I know they have that green on the outside.
Well, I'm not sure. I was an officer, so I got to bring my own, but I'm sure I think they probably do issue for people at basic training. They probably do issue some big girl panties and some big boy
girl
panties
to get through it. Okay,
Ed, did you get some big boy panties?
No, but yeah, tidy whities, man. Like, first thing you got issued was a box to put all your clothes in, dump them in there, and send your civilian stuff home. So, yeah, tidy whities, man.
On that one, we have one more. We have one more thing that I think that Marie would be mad at me if I didn't put this up, but they have a pledge. This is the pledge. Let's look at it here.
Here's the pledge.
This is, hold on, I got to get her off of there on the comment. So there we go. And then you can go to that website, but here you go. This is Tell 10 People pledge. It says there, vote on 3 to 6 p.m. on election day, in person, no absentee ballots, no mail-in crap. Vet all the candidates, check them out. Provisional ballot rights, check your sheriff for that, see something, say something, run for local's office, all this stuff. I think pretty much the bottom line is get involved. I mean, this is time to get involved, and it's time, time for sitting on the fence is over. And that deal is, sitting on the fence is hard on you because that, unless you have big girl panties, and then sitting on the fence is okay. So, are we doing conspiracy theory tonight? Are people ready for that?
Of course we are. If we don't, it's a conspiracy.
Love of the beat. Now, see, I've been warned that, my opponent's been putting hit pieces out on me, and they said that they're going to get my teeth and my tinfoil hat and put on there. Would you vote for this idiot?
Well, they could already pull that off online. I mean, if they wanted that, they could be running for
I know it. It's like, yeah, I know. Well, I'm going to give him some ideas because I think he's behind and he needs them. So let's go to the tinfoil hat for the win, Bob. Here you go. Get him out.
Hey, y'all, it's time for the conspiracy theory, so you better get your tinfoil hat out and let's see what's going on this week.
All right, I don't have my teeth in, but this is Lucy's whole head's gone now. All of a sudden, her head got blown clean off. It's a travesty.
That would have been better than in the Forrest Gump voice.
Oh,
her head was gone.
I don't know if
there was nothing there.
Stupid is as stupid does, or whatever that is. It's like run. What was it, Jenny? All that. Yeah, actually. I ran into a guy out campaigning that the dude looked just like Tom Hanks. I think I might have said this last week. I think I ran it. I mean, I was like, I kept looking. I'm like, man, you look just like Tom Hanks.
Oh, I have a conspiracy theory. So,
okay. Well, then you lead it off, Tiffany.
Yeah, I will lead it off. So it's kind of like what you said about the guy looking like Tom Hanks. So I'm convinced that I've gotten to the point in my life where I've seen everybody. And now I'm starting to see people who do not resemble, but they look exactly similar to people I already know. So I've gotten to the glitch in the matrix.
Oh, and I think Mark Small's black cat is in it. I think I saw it twice on the Small Talk. So yeah, I think it's true.
So like there are things that are going on around me, and there's like, wow, that's really weird. Like things are falling but not hitting the ground. It's like, yo, like stuff's crazy. Like I'm in the matrix, y'all. So
yeah.
like,
Well, Tiffany, somebody has a question for you about the Army stuff. Is there such a thing as a bra holster?
I think so. I went to the gun show. So for
the gun show.
So if you would imagine, it would probably be like right here. So you just
Okay, so I can describe them because I actually own a bra holster, but I will freely admit, since I've given birth to 10 kids, that like after number 10, I haven't lost my belly yet. So the best bra holster that they have is actually one that fits this way, like in between your skin and your underwire, if you're a woman, like wearing a bra.
like right
So
here.
it fits in between. Yep. And then it has a leather loop that hooks right around the middle of your bra. The ones from Flashbang Holster I really like because they're plastic injection molding. They're very safe. So when you put your gun in it, it's like a clamshell. So the gun pops up into it. The trigger assembly is covered. It's very safe. So you're like literally walking around, and of course I stopped breastfeeding, so my boobs went away. But if I could get rid of the stomach, and if you've got big enough boobs, you can wear a tank top. And that yeah, you will not see.
So where is the gun, like on your rib cage, or is it under
Yeah,
your
it's actually on your sternum, and then the
Okay.
handle of the gun is going to go down into, towards your belly button, which is a problem for me right now
So the
because
gun
my
is
belly's
pointing
bigger than my
gun's
boobs.
pointing up
No, so the gun is this way.
this
Yep.
way?
So the way that mine fits, the business end of the gun is actually to the left, and then it comes down, like the number 7. And
Okay.
so when it pops up, it literally just pops up into the clamshell, and the handle sticking down like that. So
Okay.
so all you have to do is just like slightly, like you just go up underneath your shirt and you pull straight down, and you're pulling down on the handle. The trigger assembly is all covered, so you can't accidentally shoot yourself. The other cool one that they have from Flashbang Holsters actually fits in your armpit and hooks with a clip, not a loop. It hooks with a clip right underneath, like where your side bra strap is. So they have women wearing like legit like gowns, and it's hidden. You can go jogging, and you can like have a 38 in your armpit. It's freaking awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think our show has reached a new high here
Super
on
comfortable.
gun. Interesting question. I didn't think we
Next time I
go
go to
that
the gun
long.
show, I'll get one. I think I'd be more inclined for the one that's over here. I don't think I want anything right here. I think
Yeah, and the mistake that I made, by the way, the first time is I just bought my gun because I thought it was really cool. It's a 45 double stack, but the problem is that I bought it because I first looked at the list of I wanted the holster that went in between my boobs, and so I looked at the list and I'm like, okay, I want a 45. I want this one because it's double stacked and it's small and it's compact and all that kind of stuff. Well, after I went and I took the gun shooting, I don't like the gun. And so now I've got, perfect reason to go buy a gun. Is so
You
you
don't
might
like
want to
reason?
like
It's
look
sort
at
of
the
like a
list,
guitar player.
try out
You
the
need,
guns, and then buy the holster because it's better to buy, to decide on the $600 gun before you decide on the $100 holster.
Yeah. I would want to be like Cagney and Lacey and have the thing on like that and do it like that.
Well, that's really cool too. And I've also got to give a shout out to Flashbang Holsters. I haven't bought one of these yet, but I'm carrying a little bit of extra weight after having all those 10 kids, bringing 10 human beings into the world, and they've got some holsters that are specifically for, bigger girls.
Wow. Okay. I just thought this would be a quick little funny little thing, but we got into
Now, where's my affiliate agreement, people?
Yeah, I know.
Right?
You need to.
Now, you know what? Now we should get holsters in the mail.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Okay,
I'm not gonna put anything between the girls. I'll just put something over there.
Okay, so offline, obviously, because we don't want to reveal to people what kind of guns we actually have, but legit, we need to have a Freedom Day, because at Indiana Homesteading Conference 2022, one of the 4 cousins I was telling you about, they teach self-defense, and they teach, gun self-defense techniques. We ought to do a joint venture, and I'd be happy to call Flashbang Holster ahead of time. And you and I can talk about what kind of guns we got offline, so we can get ourselves some sponsored holsters for free.
Yeah, maybe we can get the guy Relford, the gun guy, to come on.
He would love that. See, now you're talking.
So now we're putting. Hey, this is usually our after hours talk here. Okay, with all the guns.
John, we should do that in the spring. We should have Freedom Day and have like a picnic.
Freedom Day. It's free. We're free. We're free.
Yeah.
So did you have a conspiracy in there, Tiffany? I missed it.
Yeah, I'm in the Matrix. The Matrix.
Yeah. Okay, good. I thought that's what it was.
Oh my God! Look, it just glitched again. You're in it now, John.
I know it. It's. I am in it. I swear I'm in it. So, Ed, bail me out here, Ed. Please bail me out of this. I should have never put that question up from the audience there. This definitely is the Forrest Gump show.
I am getting my Facebook feed is overwhelmed with a bunch of friends whose kids are out playing sports these days. I want to put out the message that if your kids, we had an NFL coach this week come out and really plead for the NFL to switch back to grass fields because of the injury concerns that they've had. But my plea is to parents, grandparents, if your kids are playing on crushed rubber, when that game's over, get those kids home, get those kids in the shower, get them cleaned up. For those of you who don't know, that black stuff coming up is crushed tire rubber. And the federal government, I'm going to go with Lucy on this one. Federal government needed something to do with those tires. They had an abundance of them. They basically came up with this crushed rubber stuff to put in playgrounds, and they basically begged counties, cities, local governments to put in all these crushed rubber fields everywhere. We've also had ESPN's done a special or did something on the possible link with cancer, and suddenly the federal government pulled back. They have not rescinded, they haven't made the link, but they are no longer pushing crushed rubber the way that they were. And so my plea to you is, this is one of those issues they've tried to sweep under the rug as much as they possibly can. It's really hard these days. If you're a parent or grandparent, you go to a park, that those kids are playing on crushed rubber quite a bit. But the biggest number one thing that they were finding, the link that they were finding, was a lot of these kids were going home and being allowed to sleep. That stuff would be in your bed and your sheets. It stays there. You're breathing it. It's into your skin. So the number one preventative, get those kids home, get them a shower, get them out of those clothes, and get those clean clothes washed as soon as possible. And so that's just it's conspiracy fact, and just a warning there for your kids.
There's a public service announcement. That's what
I can imagine the NFL sweeping anything under the carpet, like CTEs or rubber, crushed rubber.
You say that. I'm actually building a building for the guy that makes the fluffers for it's like the field. It's called a green screamer. It's like a brush because if you don't bring the mat back up on the fields, it just cuts down on them. And then when COVID came, he actually put a sanitizer on it. And man, he's selling the heck out of these things. I'm building him a 30,000 square foot building on his own now. And so that's exactly what you're talking about. They got to, stir that stuff up and sanitize it and clean it. And that's the difference. And I have the S out of the RCA Dome. It's a big old, and I would not want to get, I know that the AstroTurf now is much better than that, but I wouldn't want to get tackled on that thing. It's like old shag carpet from the 70s. It's terrible. So that's a good one, Ed. I like that. You had a little public service announcement. All right, now Lucy.
Ed has a new writer. Oh my God.
Why not? He did.
We're gonna have to get a new writer. Oh my God.
Well, I think he's going to do a wonderful job hosting next week. So
looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I'm just.
By the way, I just want to say real quick, When you said you had a neighbor that was a fluffer, I thought that story was going in a totally different direction.
Yeah, I didn't know where you were
Did I
going.
mention that they had a bra holster too? Did I mention
Yeah,
that?
I didn't know where you were going. I was like,
Yeah, I
uh-oh,
know.
there goes
Oh, boy,
John.
you guys are bad. This is
He's
so
walking off the
Hey,
playing
we're supposed
field.
to
Look
have,
at
we're
that.
not
Look,
supposed to
I
talk
kept
like
it
this until
PC.
after.
I
Yeah.
kept it
Okay.
PC. He walked off the playing field.
So mine is
Okay, Lucy, spell me out.
conspirafact once again. And of course it's Bill Gates, but it's I've got some good news. So because of my newfound friends from the Indiana Homesteading Conference 2022, and I posted the link in the chat so you guys can go join and follow it. I got a whole posse behind me of people that are fighting Bill Gates. I'm no longer doing this alone. I'm so excited. And they're people with lots of different talents who are here to help you live a better life. So make sure that you go there and check out the different vendors. Lots and lots of people are working hard to make sure that we here in Indiana have good food, good compost, gardening skills. Next year, when Rhonda does the homesteading conference, she's going to do like a live stream. You know, we talked about all the different things. She put this together in less than 60 days. And it's really inspired me. I think I'm going to do one in Southern Indiana here in the spring so that every 6 months we'll have one, Central Indiana, Southern Indiana, something like that. Hey, Ed, are you into gardening and homesteading? Would you like to
I
host that for
am.
your?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
I
we
would
got you covered in Central
absolutely.
Indiana. Yep. We were
Dude.
at the Hamilton County Fairgrounds, Tiff. I didn't even think to hit you
Oh
up and
my
tell you.
gosh.
I know. Well, it was a crazy story, but the
Were you
good
there
news is
Saturday or Sunday?
it was Saturday, one day. She had 7 different, I call it a 7-ring circus. She had 7 different speaking engagements going at the same time in addition to the vendors area. So she had got 28 or 30 different speakers. Join the Facebook group, you'll be super impressed and you'll know who is local to you that's selling pastured pork. And I will say
you should do it at like Connor Prairie. That's those are real
it's
homesteaders
cool.
up there.
But
Those
and
are
I'm sorry I'm
animals.
making this face. So part of it I didn't go to, and that was where the bunny lady, Celtic Glen Gardens, I think it is, or Celtic Glen. Anyway, she was selling rabbit meat tacos, which were good, by the way, and rabbit meat sliders. Those were good too. But one of her demonstrations was maybe a not safe for children one where she actually processed a bunny.
Skinned it?
I did not attend.
Isn't
Skin
there
the
something
rabbit.
that you can
Skin
do?
the
Is it
rabbit.
squirrels or bunnies? You do something and you just pull it right out the
It's
skin.
called skinning the rabbit. Yeah, I think you can do
Well,
that, but the rabbit is
there's a
easier,
lady
maybe.
that I follow, and I'll post some stuff on my regular Facebook named Marjorie Wildcraft, but she shows that, you just put the bunny on the ground, and I can't believe I'm even doing this. And then she puts a broomstick down and she literally just has the bunny go upside down and breaks its neck that way. So I wasn't there to see how her name is Leslie, to see how Leslie from the Celtic Glen Gardens or whatever it is, how she did it. I was like, do I want to do it? No, I'm not really feeling it today. So I didn't go. But I'm telling you, rabbits, I had no idea how profitable they were. Not only is the meat dressed out like $9.50 a pound, which is amazing. Really good ratio between how much feed it takes versus, how much meat that they put on. But I had no idea. All the rage in Chicago, apparently, maybe here too, is they take the feet and the ears from the bunny rabbit and they wash them. Then they dehydrate them. So they had all these little vacuum sealed Mylar bags that were bunny feet and bunny ears. And apparently dogs love them. And in Chicago, it's going $10. I mean, so you got all these little bunnies and you're instantly profitable just by selling the feet and the ears.
I could never get rid of them.
I thought rabbits' feet were supposed to be lucky.
Not lucky for the rabbit.
And tasty, apparently.
Apparently this is a huge thing.
I remember one time back in the 70s when it used to snow a whole lot. We had like 14 or 16 inches of powder snow, and we got out of school. So us kids were bored. So we went out, and I caught 21 rabbits because they couldn't run in the snow, and I would chase them down and catch them. We put them in my garage. So we had 21 rabbits in my garage. Well, my dad came home that night. We didn't have an automatic garage door. So he gets out, he opens up the garage door, and all these rabbits start going out. But he ended up catching 2 of them, and we had them for dinner. So that's my rabbit story from 1974.
That sounds like a Dr. Seuss book.
Okay, and Silence Do Better has a conspirafact. The COVID Nazis are now asking for amnesty because they were just following orders and scared. Yeah, there is this thing that was in, I don't know if you guys saw it, the article from the Atlantic magazine, where it was basically saying, we just need to all come together and forgive and forget and sing Kumbaya. No, no, I'm not forgiving. I'm not forgetting. You MFers literally called for me and people like me that are not compliant, that understood that masks don't work, that understood the danger in an untested, unproven pharmaceutical product. You literally wanted us thrown in jail. And they're still doing that in China, by the way. I mean, the video coming out from China is absolutely horrifying. Your cell phone goes off and it like clicks red or something. And beep, beep, beep. And then they will then shut down shopping malls and carry people away.
Did you see
Yeah,
on the
well, I
news that
mean,
people are stuck in Disneyland, China, because there was some COVID outbreak?
So they're like quarantining there or something? Yeah, this
well,
is
it's just they're so
it's
tight
all
over there. It's so
yeah,
close. Well, the thing is, how many people lost their jobs? And I know my daughter was threatened with
thousands,
either get
millions.
it or get or leave, and a lot of people felt guilted into things, and I don't know. It's just it's now to the point where I think I'm just wore out from it. I don't know what to even
And
think anymore. They won against me.
The New York State Supreme Court just said all those people that didn't take the shot and lost their jobs get reinstated with back pay. So they're getting paid, and they should get paid. They should get. It just goes to show you that people that are easily led are able to be led by a number of wolves. Right? Doesn't matter whether you're wearing a red, black.
Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to be able to trust our government, and
What?
like I said, government's a great system till you add people. So we're supposed to be able to
or trust rather.
Yeah. So Elon Musk's AI government is going to be like absolutely amazing, right?
Yeah. Did you see where he went into the Twitter office and he had a sink and he set it on the floor? And was that a true story? Did he really do that, or did somebody make that up?
No,
he says you all are fired, and he puts the sink down. He says, "Let that sink in." I'm like, that's cold-blooded. But yeah, so the Twitter didn't shut down, so I guess he kept a couple of people around there.
And one more thing is that they rolled out the central bank digital currency in Nigeria. I think they're calling it the e-Naira or something. It is not. Yeah, that's a great saying. It is not being adopted. So the citizens are actually rejecting the CBDC and not using it. They're continuing to use barter, Bitcoin, and other means to do trade. So I think that's for me, it gives me a lot of hope, because with the Great Reset and the timeline that Klaus Schwab has within the U.S., the timeline that they're calling for us to switch over to central bank digital currency is July of 2023. So there's a lot of crisis that has to happen between now and then. Like you probably already all know that we're running out of diesel fuel, or it's you're not really running out. We just shut down pipelines and supply chains and stuff. So your water's not coming into your Dollar General, your bananas aren't coming into Walmart, because diesel makes all that happen. People don't know that diesel fuel runs our country.
Oh yeah, I tell you, when the trucking slows down the road, sell your stuff because it's coming. Because I mean, that's a leading indicator when you don't see as many semis on the highway, it's coming. So I see Slick Witty put a thing up here. What's that for, Slick Witty? I don't know what you got. It's a YouTube here. I mean, that might be two bra holsters, and that might not be our standard on this show. So I don't know what that's for. Put it in the comments there what it is. So hey, you never know. Okay, so let's wrap it up. I mean, we know this has turned into an hour and a half show. I'm gonna just go with that. This was a great topic tonight. I think we had a good discussion. Hopefully we won't get banned for talking about it, but there's always that chance. And so next week we're gonna have Ed manning the studio, and us Republican, Libertarian, and Republicans going to be out and about, and we'll figure out a way to either call in. I'll either be crying or cheering or both. So you just never know. And if they put this on a campaign mailer and send it out, I'll probably lose. So don't give me any ideas, okay?
You'd be surprised. People might be able to connect with that.
Yeah. Well, not with this on.
And I may or may not still be looking at bra holster.
Yeah, you may not. Or fluffers and bra holsters. It's like going to be a really good show. So One of your fans says, good night, Tiff.
Good night, Robert.
That must be time for us to go. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Glad everything worked this week. And hey, we'll join you next week for Fun with Ed. Ed will get to talk the whole time if he wants. I mean, he could not even put us on. He says, I'll show you guys.
All
I'll
right.
do all the talking
Watch,
around
this
here.
is gonna be the episode. This will be the episode Dorn doesn't watch.
You should get Dorn on the show with you. That would be hilarious. You and Dorn.
Yeah, so, well, Mark Small's running too in District 86. So, and he actually got Ed Delaney to come on for 2 hours with him on his show. So, hey, Ed's not scared to dodge somebody. So, I'm a stand-up guy, Ed Delaney. So, hey, good luck to both of those guys.
Love
All right.
you,
Everybody, peace out.